Welcome to the Co-op Mode podcast. This is it's not even a round. It's a special edition. We got good things to talk about. We've got a controller to announce the winners of that contest and a Nintendo Direct to break down. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by my co-host, the charming one, Mark, the Canadian Kirby. How you doing, bud?
I am good. I'm so excited. It is raining cats and dogs here and potentially might start a thunderstorm soon. So if I magically disappear at some point, the storm may have knocked out power, but I don't think it's supposed to get that bad. So I'm just really excited to be here.
Yeah, this is a special edition. We have some special guests joining us today. So I will do a quick introduction. So my friend, Sean Nyhus, we go a long way back. He said, I want to give back to the community. I'm going to donate $100 each because each one of my gamer kids love gaming and they want our audience to design controllers for them based on some criteria. So we are joined by those two kids, Stella and Henry Nyhus. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
All right. So love the shirts, by the way. Thank you very much. So Stella, we're going to start with you. So we did this contest. It's taken some time to get the pick. You guys wanted a lot of time to make sure you're making the right decision. So Stella, tell us a little bit about what the inspiration you gave to the designers. Like, what did you want to see the controller look like?
I wanted to see that it was like featured with Minecraft, but like that I wouldn't really know that it would look like something that you would see ordinary in Minecraft. And I just wanted it like something that is like my favorite colors, like blue, purple, all of that.
Was it hard to make the decision?
Kinda. Okay. It wasn't that hard. Yeah.
Well, very good. Let's not hold the suspense any longer. Let's see the controller you picked. So hold it up a little closer. Oh, Mark, nice. You can see it pretty well?
Yep. It's the diamond one.
Oh, fantastic. And that was the only person that actually gave a reference to their design, which I thought was really cool. So, Mark, do you want to say who the winner was?
I believe that one was Leah Jewer, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Yes, Leah, our fellow Canadian, also who we had on the show back in the day. That was a really cool design. I like that one too, Stella. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah,
that was really good. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, it's going to be hard to top this. So that's great.
Was there any other designs that you were like, wow, this was close?
Not really. A few though, but this is probably my favorite though.
Well, very good. Well, congratulations, Leah.
Yeah.
We'll get all the information about to the winners and how they can get the charity of their choice, the donation, because that's really the big part about your dad wanted to give back. So this is awesome. Yeah. So thank you for that, Stella. So now, Mr. Henry, you're wearing a shirt, and I think that might have had part of what you wanted your controller to be inspired by. Tell us a little bit, though. What did you want your controller to look like or be inspired by?
Well, I wanted my controller to look like the Captain America's shield because if it was like a different color, then it wouldn't match.
All right.
Love it. So was it really hard to pick your winner?
No.
Oh, boy. Okay. So at this point, let's unveil your winner. And guys, if you're listening online, watch YouTube. You will see this. You'll see the kids. You'll see the design. So this will make a lot more sense. So let's see it, Henry. We're very excited. Okay, hold it up in the middle. We're getting close. So that is a red-inspired Captain American controller. So, Mark, who was the winner?
Sadly, I believe that's yours.
It was mine. Ugh. And I did not expect this, Henry, at all. I'm like, I picked a red design. I'm like, nobody's going to expect Captain America to be red, but I wanted to be different. Mm-hmm. Well, are you surprised, Henry?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm not a designer by trade, so
the other thing is that his favorite color, or one of his favorite colors, is red. So that's another reason he probably liked it.
Wow, I feel honored. Well, thank you very much. Well, is there anything else you guys want to say to the designers or anything about the contest?
Well, we thank everyone who sent in a design.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the designers we picked, thank you for, or I hope you choose a good charity to give to.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. I it's an honor to be nominated, and it's even better to be to win. To be honest.
Good
So
job,
awesome. Yes, thank you, Mark. So thank you all for that. Once again, thank your dad, because he was the one that is donating the money. So thank you for letting us do this for you guys. This is awesome. Now, and you guys want to know all the components though, because you want these controllers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we'll make sure we connect with Leah to make sure she has all the specifics to give you, and I will do the same for mine. So with that, it's awesome to have you guys on the show. We know you listen and you enjoy the show, and we want to always hear more of your comments on what you want to hear about the show, guests you want us to have, and games you want us to talk about. So thank you again.
I have to ask one thing. When you finally get these controllers, what's the first game you guys want to play?
Minecraft.
Minecraft. Well, I should have assumed that one. That's on me. Henry, what are you picking?
Gang Beasts.
Gang Beasts? All right.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, are you guys going to get an engraving on your controller?
Well, maybe. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We probably might do Captain America. I might do Sushi Nerd.
Perfect. Awesome. So when you guys are done and you have the physical controllers, make sure you take some pictures and share them with us.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you guys. This is awesome. It's awesome to even better was having you guys on this. So that was fantastic. And I'm sure I will be seeing you two soon on a featured game day. So you guys have a good night. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was a lot of fun. But now we transition to the second part of our show, which is all about the Nintendo Direct that came out of nowhere. We had the Sony one, which we did a special on a couple weeks ago, and we have this controller. And we're like, Mark, let's just talk about this Nintendo Direct. So, Mark, this is really your baby. Nintendo is your major crush. It's like your high school crush. You had a podcast all about Nintendo before this, so this is all yours. And I'm here to give some color commentary. So, take it away.
Awesome. All right, yeah. So we had, in true Nintendo fashion, by the time everyone gave up hope, the Nintendo Drive especially shot. Those guys, that was amazing. They were like, we're just giving up hope. We're just letting go of all our hopes and dreams. And then literally this thing was announced and released the next day in true Nintendo, just super weird kind of fashion. So here we go. But this was a long one too. This was 40 minutes of just straight up announcements. And I'm going to read through the whole list. We're not going to touch on every single one of these. We're going to go through a few of our favorites and kind of to skip the rest, because every other show is going to be covering this stuff, and we're kind of releasing this the next week. So we're just going to touch on some stuff that really got us going about this announcement. But first, I want to read through quickly every single thing that was touched on here. We started off with Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, new DLC expansion for Monster Hunter Rise. And we got some dates. Do you want me to go through the dates too?
Yeah, absolutely. Add them in so people know when they can expect these to happen.
Sure, because some of the stuff is coming up, and some they went like 2022 or later, which I thought was really cool, because a lot of time Nintendo focuses on like the next 3 months or the next 6 months or something. This was just like all out. Let's go. So,
Mark, did they like lie to us? Because I don't remember them saying there'll be a lot of 2022 stuff. This is more about what was going to end the year. So, did they keep their word, or was it just sly Nintendo doing what they do?
No, they said it's going to be 40 minutes of upcoming Switch games. So they didn't really put a date or a constraint on it for themselves. The only time they did lie to us is we didn't hear only about games, which was crazy, and we'll get to that. So, like I said, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, that's summer of 22. Super Mario Party Superstars comes out much sooner, October 29th of this year. Voice of Cards, The Isle of Dragon Roars, that's October 28th, 2021. If maybe Mario Party Superstars isn't your thing. Disco Elysium, The Final Cut. That one's dropping October 12th digitally. And then we're getting a physical release early 2022. Which I thought was quite the gap for
the cartridge factory is behind.
Maybe. New expansion pass Wave 2 for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That's dropping October 29th as well. So why so much on that date? I don't know. Weird.
Anyway. Is like something going on in October? Right? Like Got to get them all in because their fiscal quarter's ending, maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? Chocobo GP, super surprising, 2022. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Final Direct, Mr. Sakurai Presents, October 5th. So very, very soon, we're getting another Nintendo news drop, and this is going to be the final Smash Brothers character. And maybe before we go, we'll have to remember to come up with who we want to see or who we expect to see.
Mark, this is the typical allow myself to introduce myself. The announcement for the announcement, I thought like they could have just dropped it in a little quick trailer and said, then because that's what they typically do. They do a little like drop and then they show who it is and they're like, and then we're gonna have like a direct where we show all their noises and their voice acting and all the echoes but they just said we're just gonna talk about it later. So I like that tease because why not? We got nothing left to look forward to in 2021.
A strange kind of way to announce things, very different from Nintendo. Because like you said, usually you'll see the character and it's like, yeah, join us next week for like a real deep dive, right? Like this one was just like, nah, we're just going to tease you with something. So I thought that was weird, but cool. So then we got Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby usually ends a console life. So this was like Kirby set in a dystopian future. I loved it. That's spring of 22. Animal Crossing New Horizons free content update. Again, something we're going to be hearing more about at a later date, but that's apparently dropping in November.
Have they ever done an Animal Crossing Direct before?
Yeah, I think so.
Like just dropped. But they haven't done anything like that since,
like
right?
DLC or something. No,
it's been like Twitter drops. It's been like you can use Mario stuff. It's a tweet plus maybe a trailer.
Yeah. So this Tim Hortons update or what's it? The coffee shop update.
The coffee shop, the Tim
that's
Hortons.
What the Americans are getting, right?
Yeah.
The Canadian.
Be Dunn Brothers coffee here, or maybe Pete's coffee. Yeah.
Right. So we're getting that's the Canadian edition. I gotta remember that. So we'll hear more about that later. Mario Golf Super Rush second free content update. That was one of those fun little things that they were like, and it's available now, or like today kind of thing.
Ninja looks cute.
Yeah,
Ninja looks cute.
I watched this, everything was out, so it was really exciting to be able to watch it and be like, "Oh, later today is now," because it's cool. This one got me pumped for my wife, and I actually went up and woke her up, and we watched the rest of it together. This was Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition, and that's dropping this holiday. So exciting. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that's dropping November 11th.
Not the remake, folks.
Not the remake.
Things they wish they probably could have pulled out of the Direct after that announcement. But oh well.
Yep. Original port of that, which I'm sure some people are happy about. They get the original, unfiltered edition, and that's it, right? So
that Aspire version apparently is the best version of that game, and it's only available on mobile now. So the fact that it's coming to Switch, that's great.
Very exciting. Dying Light 2 Stay Human, the cloud version, is coming out February 4th of 22. Dying Light Platinum Edition is coming out October 19th of 2021. Triangle Strategy, yes, they're sticking with that name, is dropping on March 4th.
All that market research they did, Mark. They said, people don't like the project part. Everything else is clearly communicated.
I love that they're just leaning into that. Metroid Dread, of course, dropping October 8th really soon. They had to touch on that a little bit. We got N64 games and Genesis games dropping late October with a Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, which again, we'll find out more details. But we did get the games, at least in this case, but we'll find out more details on pricing and stuff because this is going to cost extra for your Nintendo Switch Online account. And so many people, myself included, if you got Nintendo Switch Online when it first dropped, it's coming up to renewal time. So they had to bring something to get us renewing those subscriptions. And I'm hoping this comes in at a good price point. So we'll see.
Yeah, and those controllers too. That was kind of a big thing, which is like, and a little slight to North America when we get the Genesis controller with only 3 buttons.
3 buttons versus the 6 in Japan. That is correct. Shadowrun Trilogy is dropping sometime in 2022. Castlevania Advanced Collection was available right then and there that same day. So it's available now, obviously by the time you're listening to this. ActRaiser Renaissance available again right away. Deltarune chapters 1 and 2 available today as well. Again, these todays are like all when you're listening to this. So there's a whole lot of those like, go get it now, go get it now, go get it now, which is really exciting. Hot Wheels Unleashed, which just looks ridiculous.
Oh, when your
And
son gets old enough, Mark, it's going to blow his
Yep.
brains.
it's
Well,
going to be
that
amazing.
sounds horrible. It's going to make him excited.
Very much so. That's coming out September 30th. So by the time people listen to this, it's going to be really, really close. We're recording this on the 26th, just for some reference there. Surviving the Aftermath, that's sometime this holiday. Shin Megami Tensei 5, November 11th. Wreckfest, coming out sometime this fall. Arcade Archives, Pac-Man, and Xevious. Again, 2 things that were dropped that very day. Rune Factory 5, March 22nd, 22. And the last 3 things, big surprises. We got the first look at the cast of the Super Mario movie. And that's coming out December 21st, 2022. So we'll see more about that later, but we got the voice cast and there are some weird choices, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Mark,
I'm sure.
and the internet just really didn't have anything to say about it.
No one's been
They
blowing
were
up
they were
about
just
that
like,
at all.
okay, sounds
It's been
good.
great. We also got some look at a more look at Splatoon 3, which is again dropping sometime in 22. I'm guessing next summer, but who knows? And of course, we finished the show off with Bayonetta 3, which again is dropping in 2022. So that was everything. That was
Wow,
a big
wow,
list.
Mark.
Holy.
Wow. I mean, that was
Yeah.
40 minutes of like a little bit of fluff, but that was jam packed. Even like the last a couple of things you mentioned, that was like in a just a reel, a highlight reel,
Yeah.
because they didn't even say much about those. Like, and I thought like Shin Megami Tensei 5 was like supposed to be a big deal. It was just part of the highlight reel. So I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
they just ran out of time.
Trailers. It was like, hey, we'll show off some trailers, and then if you have some questions, I guess we'll talk about it later because we're moving on to the next thing. Like, let's go. It was just they were firing on all cylinders, and it was a heck of a show. So, like I said, instead of going through every single thing, giving our thoughts on everything, let's kind of keep it concise. But let's start with our top level excitement. Todd, what got you the most excited about this whole thing?
Holy cow. And it's kind of where it kicked off. I was just really impressed with this whole show. And I would say this show was actually better than the E3 show. I can't think of back to the E3. I'm like, was there anything blowing me away? No. I mean, and obviously it kind of gave us little pieces of other things we expected. But this one really, it was surprised because Nintendo Direct has become very uncommon until we got that E3 Direct. And I'm like, are they going to just go away from it again? We'll get these like weird, like off directs. And then we got this one. I'm like, this is fantastic because we know Nintendo has so much more in their pocket and they've just been holding back because they're on fire. They have one console developed for, and they've got things to show. So this makes me very excited about 2022 more so than 2021. But very cool. I will kick it off though. That Yoshi game. Oh my goodness. This is the game where Logan and I watched that. And Logan loves, or sorry, not Yoshi game.
Kirby.
Jeez. Kirby game.
I was going to say Yoshi. Where are you coming with that?
I was going to say
Yoshi
something? With Danny DeVito.
They did
really
show
got
a
me.
Yoshi game as part of the N64 collection, so I wasn't sure if you meant that one. But okay,
so no, the Kirby game. Sorry, let me take that back. Todd is on crack.
Right.
No, I'm not really, but the Kirby game really surprised me. And Logan says, "Dad, this really looks good," and he's a big Kirby fan too. So I'm like, and this is the first fully 3D Kirby game we've ever gotten. It's an action platformer. It feels like it's got all the hallmarks of Kirby as well. And it just feels like we haven't gotten a Kirby like that in years, which is fantastic. Logan loved that one Wii Kirby game. Was it Kirby Dreamland or something like that, where you had the huge sword on the Wii? It was fantastic.
Don't know. I think I skipped that. I most of my Kirby experience is on handheld. So I played the heck out of, was it Rainbow?
The Rainbow Curse, yep, on 3DS. Yep.
Those 3DS, I thought they were great.
And I think it was the Canvas Curse on the Wii U.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Canvas Curse on the Wii U, I think.
was on DS first.
Oh, geez. Okay. Okay.
Because I haven't played too many. I played it wasn't Yarn. What did they do with Kirby?
So there was Kirby, Kirby's Return to Dream.
Was it Yarn?
It was Epic Yarn, but Kirby
Okay.
Return to Dreamland was the game that Logan loved on the Wii. I mean, it was just epic because you get like a huge sword, and it was a side scroller. It was just a
Awesome.
but it was a lot of fun Kirby game. So we loved playing those with a kid, and I would say when Finn gets of age, I think Kirby's a perfect game, especially
Mhm.
Epic Yarn, so fun. But this game
Finn
just
was
looked
walking
so
around
cool.
with my actually, well, speaking of Nintendo Switch Online, he's been walking around with my Super Nintendo controller all
Ah,
day.
okay.
He found that, he dug it out of a basket, and I was scared he was going to break it, but then I was just kind of like, he's
No,
actually
you
like
can't.
kind of
He can't break it,
sitting
Mark.
down and like actually pressing the buttons to nothing, but he was very much enjoying himself. Anyway, sorry, back to Kirby.
That controller is indestructible, but
Hopefully.
but it just looks cool. And someone even mentioned maybe this is the same engine that we got Mario Odyssey with, which would be very cool. But I like this. I thought this looked very cool, very fun. And anytime Nintendo makes a 3D platformer, I'm interested. So this
Mhm.
seemed to be like, I didn't expect this. I think there was a leak in advance, but still seeing it on the page, it looks like The Last of Us with Kirby.
Mhm.
And the fact that it's so desolate, I'm like, this is so weird, but I'm all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Mine, I'll talk a little bit about. I think I mentioned when I was listing, but a few of these. But I'll start with the Castlevania Advanced Collection. I was so pumped for this. I know it's, again, the same kind of thing you were saying with the Kirby and whatever. Like, I think some of this stuff was kind of leaked already, but the fact that it was released the same day just got me so pumped. I loved the Game Boy Advance, and I loved Castlevania on the Game Boy Advance. That's really where I got into Castlevania. I kind of skipped those for Super Nintendo because I was a little too young when they came out. So like Aria of Sorrow, those kind of like, oh man, those games were just so good. So in this collection, we have Circle of the Moon, we have Harmony of Dissonance, and Aria of Sorrow, plus the Super Nintendo Dracula X. So 4 games. Canadian, I think they're like $25. I bought this instantly. I think it's 20 in the States,
Mm-hmm.
like instant purchase. However, thanks to the Halo test flight and being busy the last few days, I really only got to touch 2 of the games in this collection, and only for a little bit. So, so far I'm loving it. The controls are all fully customizable because I didn't like how they were mapped at first. There's a rewind function because these games is hard.
Oh, yeah.
And but they look great. There's a pixel perfect mode, or you can stretch it out to the full Switch screen. I've only been playing in handheld so far, but I'm sure the graphics will still hold up on the TV because it's great pixel art, so you can't really go wrong there. So super excited to have this collection on Switch, and just be, like I said, just them dropping it that exact day, just like, go out now. And like I said, I watched it late, so I was like, where's my Switch? Let's go. So this was an exciting one for me.
Yeah, Konami actually has a heart. We've seen that experience. The fact that they give us 4 games for $20 is just a phenomenal deal. And
Yeah.
I will say, I will talk about this collection later in the as we talk through these. But the fact that I played these games on an original GBA where there was no backlit screen,
Mhm.
and these games just struggled because of that. And the fact that now you get it's not held back by any hardware.
Right. Even on the
Perfection.
SP, like I had the GBA SP that looked like an NES, and that one was it did have a lit up screen, but it wasn't great. I also replayed these on the DS because that had the GBA port. It looked better there, and again, like you said, it's not held back by any hardware now. It looks amazing. So if you're a fan of Castlevania games or Metroidvania games in general, like, go back and check these out.
Absolutely. Perfect. Just collection.
Yeah. The next game, Bayonetta, or Splatoon 3. We were both excited about that one. Todd, what'd you think of this?
Logan and I both looked at this. We like, they must have a new engine because it looks remarkably better, and it just seemed like what they delivered here. This seems like the true sequel to Splatoon versus Splatoon 2, which I always felt like was more of a deluxe. It had some additions, but this one seems like they are really going deep with this game, what they're doing with the lore, all those things. And I'm not the biggest Splatoon fan. I always wanted to do more. I always ask of more of this game because I'm like, I think they could do so much more as a PvE element with multiplayer, because they had the one mode they added last. What was it called? The
Salmon Run.
Yeah, Salmon Run. And I hated that event because like only happens these days. I'm like, well, then I'm out because I'm like, do I have to schedule myself? So I really hope they go down the road of let's get players to go together in a more cooperative versus PV because I love PV and Destiny and things like that. So I'm hoping they have it. But I mean, like what they showed, like it almost looked like you drive a tank or
Mhm.
like that type of thing. You become like a weird squid superhero, which was kind of fun. They added a shield, which was really cool. So this seems more like just more weapons, more weapons and more customization. They seem like they're going fully in. Like this is what they can do when they've got a lot of time because
Mhm.
it's been I think more time than they previously given another game. So and this hardware is mature. They've got a full audience now. And it's got a huge following. So I think this is great. And I hope they do some really cool stuff with the single player. And for me, I don't love the control scheme in Splatoon. I don't love motion controls, and I don't love the sticks. So maybe they'll do something there that'll make it a little bit more for me, but
Mhm.
maybe not. I don't care, but I think this looks cool. Looks like a really cool sequel, and they're doing something with mammals, which is very weird because now we have hairy squid things, which is just very weird. Mark,
I love how weird they're going with Splatoon, and so far, like they mentioned in the trailer or in the direct for this, there's only been two mammals in the Splatoon universe, and that is two seemingly immortal cats. If you look up the Splatoon lore, it is actually absolutely hilarious. Because the cat that determines which team wins and which team loses is apparently immortal and has been around since the end of the mammalian age and the beginning of the squid age. And I love that they're just leaning into this and just going full wacky with it. And like you said, they look like they're really changing some things up and adding some new elements. And like you said, last time was almost like Splatoon Deluxe, but it ended up being Splatoon 2. So this one, I hope they do go completely wacky. And I hope they take advantage of what the Switch is, because last time, as much as I loved Splatoon 2, last time I felt like they had transposed the Wii U controls to the Switch, which didn't always work, because with the Switch you had the map there that you could press the map and
mm-hmm.
jump to a specific place, and there were certain things with the Wii U controller that just didn't translate to Switch because you didn't have two screens, you didn't have that asynchronicity, uh, for a word I might have just made up, but anyway. This one, I have to say, I'm very excited for, but it also hurt me to my core because every second of this trailer made me miss Bobby, who I had a
Absolutely.
Splatoon podcast with, the Ink Strike podcast. And every time there'd be a new Splatoon announcement or game, we'd bring this back for a few special episodes. And that was always a special time for me to hang out with Bobby and talk Splatoon, and of course, play the game with him and stuff like that. So every frame of this trailer just hurt me a little, but I'm also very excited. So, Splatoon 3. Look forward to hearing
Bobby
more.
is sending you hugs, Mark. He's so
That's it.
happy for you,
Yeah.
and he's just thinking of you right now through all the excitement here. So, and I will say, if Bobby was here, he would say, "It's time to make the promise of a second Wii U controller happen with a Switch Lite. Allows you to control things and use the screen as a controller option for Splatoon 3."
For people like Bobby who had 4 Switches in their house just for themselves, I think that could work for sure. My
Absolutely.
luck, I'd be able to borrow my wife's Switch, but it would only work with Switch Lights, and I'd have to like go out and buy one of those, so it'd drive me crazy. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Bayonetta 3. We both had this on our list. Todd, how you feeling?
Wowie wow. Mark, Bayonetta 1, I didn't love it first. Bayonetta 2, I didn't love it first. But then I played Bayonetta 2 on the Switch,
Mm-hmm.
and it was chef's kiss. Perfection. Love that game.
Excellent.
I
Yeah.
love action, stylish combat, whatever they want to call it. And I actually loved it so much. I'm like, well, how can I play Bayonetta 1 now? Because I want to do that. So I was telling you, I'm like, I looked on Switch, it's $30 to play Bayonetta
Mm-hmm.
1. There is a collection of Bayonetta 1 plus Vanquish for $16 on Xbox One and PS4. I found, but it's still $30 on the Switch. Like, so I found it for $5 on Steam. So I'm going to play Bayonetta 1 because I want to do
So
that.
the sale, when I went to check that on Xbox for Bayonetta 1, it was the same price as Switch or very close to it.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
the collection was not as cheap as you said. So that might have been a sale last week and they've gotten rid of that
Maybe
because
it's
this
just PS4 or PS5 that had
maybe,
it.
maybe.
Because
I don't know.
Vanquish is a fantastic game too. So I'm like, play those games because it's.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that game hasn't come to everything either. But yeah,
Hmm.
I bought it on Steam for $5. So if you can
Okay.
get to play Steam and Vanquish, play it wherever you can because they're fantastic. But yeah, the fact that this nobody knew what this game was when we first saw the trailer. I'm like, is this? Is this? Nobody knew what this was. They thought maybe this is Nier or something else, and I'm like, I think this is Bayonetta, but I'm
Hmm.
not sure. We didn't see her forever, and then we finally see her finally with the new hairdo and everything. I'm like, and we saw a weird teddy bear, which I'm like, I don't get that,
Yep.
but I'm like, I'm all for it. And they added this cool new mechanic of like these monsters, which are selectable. So like she has summons where she can summon like big fists and things like that. But I've never seen this before where they added these like ridiculous like monsters that she can attack with
Hmm.
in a selectable. Well, there's 3 of them, and then you can also ride these monsters in a maybe it's a cutscene. I don't know, but I think this looks awesome. I love it. And the fact
Yep.
that they have that weird Joe Pesci guy probably coming back that drops f bombs on a Nintendo console just makes me feel like Nintendo don't care anymore. They want all the
No.
money.
Very, very mature game and only coming out for Nintendo Switch. I
Absolutely.
saw, funny enough, Dan from Retro Logic, who was on a few episodes ago or a couple episodes ago, um, he mentioned something on Twitter is seeing a bunch of people complain that Bayonetta 3 is only coming out for Switch. And he's like, just go buy a Switch. Who doesn't have a Switch? They've
Absolutely.
sold 100 billion of these things. So, I mean, if you're complaining that Bayonetta 3 is only on Switch, I don't think you understand how games get made because Nintendo basically made Bayonetta 2 and 3 happen. They paid for it or published it or whatever. And that's the reason these games exist, just the same way that Spider-Man exists on PS4 because Sony ponied up the money. So thank you to Nintendo for
Yeah,
getting
absolutely.
these games to us and they can do whatever they want with them. Like you said, it's nice to see Nintendo have some mature stuff on the platform. So that's awesome. I'm so excited for this. And I need to play Bayonetta 1 and 2 again because they're on my Wii U. I never got them for Switch. And I could plug my Wii U back in again. I think it's upstairs. I think we were using it for some Wii Fit stuff the last time that was really plugged in. But it's been a while and I don't feel like it. So I'm probably going to rebuy these and play them. But that's it. I'm very excited for those. I do have one honorable mention. Like I said, I woke my wife up for Disney Magical World 2. She put like 600 plus hours in that game on 3DS. Disney Magical World 1 and 2 combined, she has well over 1,000 hours on the 3DS. She woke up and watched the rest of this direct with me just for that game. And we were very excited watching it, but she has not stopped talking. And the fact that it's coming out this holiday is amazing. She is so excited. I'm so excited for her. It's awesome when like she gets really really into games, but only like specific ones. So seeing her that excited about a game that she's already put 600 hours in is just delightful to me. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see her just completely geek out about this. I know all the music, like it haunts me in my dreams because it just like 600 hours of it. I listened, and I can't wait to have her experience this game again on the Switch. It's going to be awesome.
It's amazing to me to still see like the Me games, the games with Mii's. Like we had what was that? Miitomo?
Yeah.
Or what was that? The game my son loved to pieces on 3DS, and then he wanted it again on Switch. I'm like, you love this? Yes, I do, Dad. I want this.
Yep.
And there's only a handful, so I'm like, and it is weird that we still don't have a Wii Sports on. We had that weird Wii Sports Club on Wii U, but nothing on Switch. And I would just love to play those games again. Wii Bowling,
It's
those
not
are
like we don't have
fantastic.
motion controls. Come on.
It's an
Joy-Cons
an
are great.
easy solve. And just think about that. All those old people, hopefully who are still alive, that owned a Switch or a Wii U, a Wii, are hopefully still alive and will then buy a Switch to just play Wii gaming again.
You'd think. Maybe they're holding that back to when there's no chip shortage. They just know that would have the Switch off the shelves. They're doing
That's
this
the game
for our
changer,
benefit.
Mark.
They're doing this for our benefit because they know that that's what you get for that blue ocean strategy, casual, fit gamer kind of thing in. And they know once that happens, you're not going to be able to find these things. So they're like, you know what? We see a sales lull. We'll get that Wii Sports sequel out for Switch. But until then, let's just give the people the Bayonetta 3 and move on.
Mark, I
So,
think we're waiting for that Switch revision that's like the what is it, the Firefly phone for old people, where it's like you can only have like 3 buttons. It's very limited. This is all you can do with your Switch, folks, because you will like download like those really bad games on the eShop that you shouldn't have.
yeah,
That's what they're gonna do. Like the Switch
that,
for old people.
that
The
is
what do you call it?
100% accurate.
I don't know what you would call it. Do we have a name for the Switch for old people?
Um, no, no, the Switch. Oh man, I want to say like the Switch Prune Juice Edition. I think that's what we're going with.
It'll be prune colored and yeah.
Switch by Metamucil.
And it'll be
it.
a 25-inch Switch.
That's the stuff.
It's on the go. Yes,
the big button Switch.
Yes, for
speaking
nursing
of
homes.
things we're excited about for the future, aside from the Metamucil edition of Switch, what were there? We had a few things in this that were like, here's a little tease. We'll talk about them at a later date. Todd, what was the one that stuck out to you for like, I can't wait to hear more?
Wow, it had to be the Nintendo Online expansion pack plus the controllers.
Yeah.
So ultimately, this gives you 9 N64 games at launch, plus I think it was 14 Genesis games. Which, if you compare the library, wow, the Genesis games delivered.
Yeah.
The N64 games, you got Win back, and then you got a couple other games like you can play those elsewhere. Because if you owned I think if you owned the Mario 64 or the collection for Mario, you got Mario 64, so that's a way to play it there. But yeah, and then and we saw that what's coming too. We are getting a Conquer game, so rareware may happen on this, although. You're not getting GoldenEye because nobody gets GoldenEye because of that license is horrible. But you could get Perfect Dark. You could get all these weird Diddy Kong games. You could get Donkey Kong 64. Yeah, so you could get all of these weird games. And nobody. Yeah, it would be cool to see. Shadows of the Empire would be cool too. So. Yeah. They could lean heavily, Mark, into their third-party heritage, which the N64 had a lot of big Hallmark third-party games. So that would be cool if they delivered it. The only thing I'm curious about is, do the Genesis games have the same online features, like online co-op, split screen? I don't know about that.
Not sure. Yeah, they did. They touch on that for the N64 games, like 4-player Star Fox, but yeah, they didn't really touch on it for the Genesis games. And they announced some games that would really work with it. Some at least 2-player beat 'em ups and that kind of stuff, where you think that would be a thing. So I'm hoping, but again, this is maybe the reason why we need to learn about it later, right? We don't know the price. We don't know the exact ship date for these games, and there's some stuff left unanswered. So I don't know if that's going to be another direct news drop on Twitter / their website, or just like a couple of YouTube videos that they're like, okay, here's all the information. Go to your YouTube page, watch the videos you want to watch, and thumbs up. Have a good Tuesday or something. Like, who knows? But I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, they have not announced a price. So essentially, if you are a Nintendo Online subscriber, you'll continue with that service as is. If you want these extra options, which is these games added, there will be an extra fee, which apparently you can then transfer your account to that new service. If you don't want it, you don't have to. So that's the unknown right now, is what this extra edition will cost you in addition to what you've already paid. A lot of people are on that yearly plan where it expires this fall, so it's like the perfect time to transition. So Mark, I'm going to ask you really quick, what's a reasonable like price? Because right now it's $20 in the US for the single plan, $35 for a family for everything. So in regards to that, what's a fair price for 9 N64 games you know now, maybe more games you don't know what you're getting, and then also Genesis games?
I think an extra $10 a year. Like, you're not going to double it up. I don't think they can cost, like, double your subscription. So I don't think they're going to hit $20 a year for the base plus $20 for the expansion pass. Like this has to be 10, right? It has to be.
I think so. I think that's fair. I mean, and then the family make it $50, right? Like go $30
Yeah,
for the single, $50 for the family plan, which was already a bargain because you can have like 8 families or whatever. So yeah,
exactly.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
do the
fair.
family plan for myself, Loren, and my nephew. So I
Yeah,
have just all of us because I said like myself and my wife. Like obviously I'm going to get the family plan for that. Then I was just like, I don't know who else can I throw on this and like.
absolutely.
Like here nephew, like you probably don't appreciate any of these games, but here's a bunch of Super Nintendo, so like that'll be another thing that I can be like, hey, check out these N64 games and Genesis and whatever. So yeah, it just makes sense for me to have that, but I can't imagine it being more than $10.
Yeah, it seems like it's fair because those games are old, but it's
Yeah.
also giving you new ways to play those games, which is cool. And
Mhm.
a lot of people still have gripes about what's still lacking on the NES and the SNES. What you'll get still a little bit unknown. That library on the N64 is a little less deep than the other systems.
Mhm.
So it'll be cool. But I think a lot of people really thought they'd be getting Game Boy. So for
Yeah.
this was a huge surprise. So that could be the next road down the road, or
Yeah.
maybe we get a micro console, but very cool. But lastly, the controllers they offered, I was like, okay, N64 controller, it's wireless, has the extra buttons for the Switch on it on the back part. And I hope they fix the analog control because that thing was so brittle. It's like a
Mhm.
toothpick.
Yeah.
But it's there. And then the same thing with the Genesis. It's wireless, has those extra features. $50 seems very high for what those things are.
Yeah.
Am I just
Well,
on crack?
no, what were the other controllers? Like I wouldn't expect it again to be too much more. And I'm
I think the NES was like $40 and you got 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one and the Super Nintendo, I can't remember offhand what that was. I should have probably looked it up. But um I don't know. I as long as the controls are mapped well enough that you can play it with a standard Switch controller and not really worried. I think these are good niche products that you don't really need. But the second they say like you can't play X game on X, and Donkey Kong is one that comes to mind where it's tough to remap that because they use the face buttons to that certain thing. And I think Dan talked about this when he was on from Retro Logic. Like there's certain games that are very tough to emulate on the N64 specifically because it had so many buttons. And you mentioned the 6 face buttons on the Japanese edition of the Genesis controller. Um, so clearly they found a way to get around that in the US with 3 buttons on the face, and that's fine. That makes sense. We have 4 now, so we're not missing anything. But N64 had the A, B, and then the 4 directional buttons. And if they didn't use those for direction or camera, then you could really map moves or actions to essentially 6 buttons on the front. So it makes it tough. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they do it. But I'm planning on getting the N64 one. Maybe not the Genesis, but as soon as my wife saw it, she was just like, "Yep, N64 Ocarina, let's go. Need the controller. Don't care. Just order one or 2."
Cardinal sin mark.
Yep.
No, like colors though. They should have like said
I
you can
know.
choose like 3 different variations, meaning like the purple, red,
Yeah.
atomic purple, the whatever green, translucent. Because that's where I think the Nintendo 64 console with all its translucent stuff was the bomb.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Just releasing the boring, I'll say boring gray one. Like, come on, give me my translucent green back. Like, I just need that.
I would have
Just
bought the purple one just because I like
yeah,
translucent purple.
yeah.
Purple's my favorite color. So
I
there you
still
go.
have the green one. It's like it's just back in like my display, but like it doesn't like you said the controller stick's wobbly and just not useful, but like I love that controller so much. I'm not going to throw it out. Like
Every demo unit with a Nintendo 64, that that stick was just like just had given up and it just slopped down.
yeah. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's wrap up with a few honorable mentions. So in that one, I did have my N64 games on the online Switch. So I'll kind of move past that and ask you about what your first little honorable mention is.
So, Mark, since I took up all the time, I'm going to go back to Smash because I will
Oh
add
shoot,
Smash
right.
in
And that was
because we
my
didn't talk about that.
future announcement. That's I
Yeah.
meant to talk about that. I kind of blazed past
Well,
that, but
we'll
that
just add
was
that
my
in
most
now.
exciting future
Yeah.
announcement was Smash. So yeah, let's move on to that. That's your honorable mention, my future announcement. What do you think?
So I think this is cool, but I think everyone is nervous because we've been so disappointed because like this is the last one for this game that has been the ultimate. So
Mhm.
ultimately, ultimate. We don't know if we're ever going to get a Smash game that is this vast or it can possibly be. So, I
Mhm.
mean, what can this be? Because we feel like we've wasted so many great slots with
Yep.
like another Fire Emblem character or a Fatal Fury Terry Bogard or something like that. It's like,
Yep.
So, Mark, I'm excited for this, but I'm
Mhm.
also hesitant to like. There might be riots in the street after this if it's another sword character from a fantasy series that looks like could be a boy, could be a girl, could be anybody that
Mhm.
does something and acts crazy.
There's like no way they can win with this because you either have Halo fans rioting if it's not Master Chief, you have Waluigi fans rioting if it's not Waluigi, you have people that I'm sure want a dozen different characters and they think they're the most deserving. Kratos, Lara Croft,
Crash
whoever,
Bandicoot.
just Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. Like, name a character. There is a fan group out there that thinks that they deserve the last spot, and it's a lose for everyone because they're probably going to be like, I don't know, it's Master Hand, whatever, leave me alone. And like it's like I don't know. Sakurai put himself in this game for all we know. Who knows how it's going to end, but we don't have to wait long. That's a good thing.
I think Sakurai is going to end this with these basically, and I am making the next great Kirby game.
That's it.
That's all I want.
That's
Really.
it. Yeah.
Or the next Kid Icarus, or a remake of Kid Icarus Rising on
that would be cool. Yeah.
3DS. Perfect.
That man needs a vacation. It's been 3 years of just solid work on Smash Brothers. No matter who we get, like, they deserve, that whole team deserves an applause and a long vacation before moving on to something else. 3 solid years of amazing Smash Brothers content. Whether you loved the character at the time or not, like, you cannot argue that they have rebuilt this entire game from the ground up for certain DLC characters. That is bananas. Like, they could have just picked someone easier to make them fit into the game that they already built, but they were like, no, we want to put Minecraft Steve in. Let's rewrite our whole engine. What? Come on. Like, no other team in the world does that. So it's amazing to see. They deserve all the recognition, and yeah, that's just wild.
And the Mario Kart 8 team's like, we just ported the game. We sell more than everybody else. I'm like, ooh.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Can't wait for the Ultra Smash Ultimate Ultra DX port, and you get, I don't
functioning online.
There you go. I love this. We got some overlap though on the honorable mentions. So
Yep.
So Mark, from there, what's your honorable mention?
Let's
next?
talk the next one. Let's go on. Let's save the lap for the last thing. I'm going to talk Metroid Dread for my honorable mention. I know, and the only reason I put this in my honorable mentions is because it's coming out so soon and I'm already about as hyped as I can get. I really didn't need to see anything more on this. Everything I see gets me a little bit more hyped, but like, I didn't pre-order it yet, but like, the game's already going to be purchased. It's already a win. Like, just release it and let us have some fun. It looks amazing. I'm sold. Like, like, save that 2 minutes for something else, I guess. But like, I understand what they're doing. They're marketing the heck out of this game because they need this. I love that they're putting the marketing dollars into this. I can't complain too much. But like, for me, it gets knocked down to that honorable mention just because I'm already so sold on this game.
Yeah, it's funny because I think they do that with every direct where they've got a game coming out in like 2 weeks. Here it is again. So,
Yeah.
And I would say this at this point, everybody wants Metroid to succeed. So if there's anybody that by happenstance have not seen this trailer,
Mhm.
here it is again, folks. And here's a website you can go to. And here's all these things. Because don't blame us if you don't buy this game. Because at this point, if you complain and it doesn't sell,
Mhm.
you have no one to blame except for yourself.
That's it. So what was your next one?
I will go, and we'll finish up with our shared at the end.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna go with ActRaiser Renaissance. This is
All
just
right.
so bizarre because a lot of people loved ActRaiser on the SNES, and it's a weird like hybrid. It's basically a side-scrolling action platformer, but it also had this like weird world building where you can build a village and do all these things. Like, and I think no one expected this game to ever be. I mean, the fact if you got it on, I think, is it on the SNES online service?
I don't think so, but I could be mistaken.
Okay, so that was the best you could hope it would go on that service.
Yeah.
But beyond that, or the SNES Classic. But the fact that you're getting actually a remake and it looks pretty good,
Mhm.
that's amazing. Not that
Yeah.
I'm going to play it. I just was very happy for people that have said this game is awesome and largely has been unavailable for people for decades.
Mhm. It's such a wacky game. I never played it. Too young to kind of grasp the concept when the Super Nintendo was out, and like you said, it's been kind of hard to get. So I loved seeing the hype about this, but yeah, it's and again one of those things that it was like, and it's available now, so that's so cool. I love seeing that and the hype. It felt very similar to how I felt about Castlevania. So everyone has those little things that you're hyped about, and it's awesome to see it online. So that's it. So last but not least, the Super Mario movie. We have a voice list. I put it on my honorable mentions. I'm guessing you did too, just because it was so weird. They only showed the voice actor list. They didn't show a single frame of animation or what this movie is going to look like. So let's recap the movie. Who's going to be in this?
Yeah, and Mark, I'm just a little confused because I thought I saw more or heard more casting versus what they showed on the direct. Is that true?
Whoops. Sorry.
Oh my goodness!
I
There
opened
you
up
go.
a
You
website.
got some online commentary apparently.
I opened up a website to get the full cast list here, and it instantly just started playing
The voice, yeah.
a recap of the direct. So I apologize for that. But so the voice cast that's on this list anyway, and maybe they announced more, but I missed it or something. Anyway, we have Chris Pratt voicing Super Mario, which the internet is just ablaze with this information. Chris Pratt's not my favorite Chris, but like Nintendo is so hands-on with this movie that I have faith that if he sucked, they'd be like, we need someone else. Get Charles Martinet or someone else. Like they are there every day, hands-on. This is what Miyamoto's doing. Like I trust it. There's a process here. I trust it. And he was good in the Lego movie. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I think Anya Taylor-Joy voicing Princess Peach, Charlie Day, my favorite casting, I think, as Luigi.
I love it.
Amazing.
Mark, do you remember that scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie mentions why he likes to go into the sewers, and it's like perfect. He's a plumber.
That's it. It's amazing. I've seen a few voice clips of like things from Always Sunny that are over Luigi talking, or what, or like just a picture of Luigi
with a bag of spaghetti.
The bag of spaghetti. I love that.
Yep.
I sent to my brother, and then I saw other people doing this, but I sent it as two separate pictures of the Charlie Day staring across the restaurant, and then Luigi giving the death stare.
Yep.
And I sent the both pictures as I was watching the direct to my brother, who had watched the direct earlier, and I just sent them, like I said, two separate pictures, but I was like, same energy. And then I saw people doing, like, they memed it up and made it look way better than I did, just sending two pictures that I stole from the internet. But like, I love it. I love everyone's just like in agreement that Charlie Day has big Luigi energy. It's great. Jack Black as Bowser. Can't wait to hear him just sing something about.
I hope this is a musical, Mark. 100%. I hope this is a musical.
Has to be.
The Day Man, Light Man. Sorry, I love
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny in
You're coming
Philadelphia.
to my castle.
Oh my
Can't wait.
goodness! And I think Danny DeVito got announced as Yoshi. Is that true?
What?
Or am I just imagining?
Oh,
I
no.
thought it was, and I'm like, that's perfect.
I would lose my mind, but that is not on this list. I'm guessing that's fan casting, but we'll stick to what's on my list here.
Sure.
Keegan-Michael Key voicing Toad. Sad.
Did you see what I put in the Discord, Mark?
Yes.
The Toad voice over Keegan-Michael Key doing the AA Ron.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. Fantastic. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Again, I've seen the Seth Rogen laugh over the creepy animation from the Donkey Kong 90s cartoon that was like 3D, early 3D computer animation, and it is perfect. Fred Armisen voicing Cranky Kong.
Perfect.
Kevin Michael Richardson voicing Kamek. Sebastian Maniscalco.
He's a very Italian man, is all I will say.
Voicing Spike. Interesting. They did also say that Charles Martinet, who has provided the voice of Mario forever, and other characters like Luigi, Wario, several other, like he's a fantastic, phenomenal voice actor. Oh, yeah. He will be doing surprise cameos, or at least a cameo in this movie. So it kind of sucks. I'm hoping he's okay with that, like being replaced by Chris Pratt or like some Hollywood actor or whatever. And like, you never really expect, like, obviously for this movie, they want some big name actor to get people like just out to see this. And they're going to be, there's going to be some mom in middle America that's going to be like, oh, I like Chris Pratt. He's great. Let's go see this Mario movie. And, if they saw that, like Charles Martinet starring as Mario, like they'd be like, who is what? Why? I'm going to go see Paw Patrol again. Like it just, but like, how did that phone call go? Like, hey, Charles, cool. Thanks for voicing Super Mario for the last 30 years. We want you in the movie. It's going to be great. And he's like, it's a me. And they're like, no. You're going to be voicing Petey Piranha. We got Chris Pratt, Star-Lord's going to be Mario. It's like, wow. Like the Pac-Man sound or something, like just like just, sorry, Charles.
Yeah. At this point, I don't think we can say Nintendo will be like, we didn't approve that. Miyamoto came on and said, oh, Chris Pratt, he's so cool. So At this point, I'm like, Nintendo has no excuse to say, we didn't know what we were doing. We were plugged in. We were just naive toy makers. And it's like, they got screwed once. They aren't getting screwed again. They did have a success, and they did have involvement with the Detective Pikachu movie because they are like third of the owners of the Pokemon company. So I think they saw when Ryan Reynolds did that voice, and it's like, that worked. So I'm guessing the way this is going to work, Mark, this may be a weird Jumanji type of experience where they're brought into the world of Mario.
Oh, you think?
I think that's how they're going to nail it, because I think that kind of makes sense to say, hey, I'm in a video game and we are these characters and what's going to happen. But I could be wrong. It could be something completely different. It could be like the Sonic movie where Sonic is just a weird hedgehog who hangs out with Cyclops from the X-Men films. I don't know.
That's kind of how I've been picturing it, is just like, we got a Sonic the Hedgehog that wasn't like, don't be suspicious for
or chili dogs and weird
it wasn't, he wasn't John Ralphio. He wasn't, like running into Cyclops being like, money please. Like, he was a good Sonic.
That would have even been better if he did like a little Parks and Rec thing. That would be perfect.
John Ralphio, like, I'm the worst.
Or his sister was what? Rose? I don't even know the Sonic characters, quite honestly, but yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I have faith that Nintendo's going to make this the best they can, because they got so burned the first time. And again, Miyamoto is on this every single day. This is his job now. This is what he's doing. I have faith.
I mean, Bob Hoskins was an English dude who played Mario. So somebody doing a heavy Italian accent, is that what you want? And quite honestly, people have always said, I want Mario to do more. I want him to say more than just, Mamma mia, I'm Italian stereotype. I mean, that's a hard thing to eat in a movie with a broad audience. So I'm hoping they'll just nail it and just have fun with this. And it's like, yeah, Nintendo can really put their product out there for everybody. It can be a lot of fun versus you're not staying true to the character. I'm like, that's not what it's always about. I mean, Link
Right.
has only said, wee, for how many years? And people are like, it's so involving. Oh my God.
Yeah, and
That story
everyone
was
wanted
so
that
great.
Netflix show, right? Like Link has to have a voice in the Netflix show. You're not going to have.
I think so. But he
You're
can
not
be a
going to
man of
have.
few words, like The
Well,
Witcher.
yeah, I suppose,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. But again, this is why we had this on like honorable mentions or stuff we're looking forward to. Like, we still need to hear a lot more and see something about this movie. So I think that's kind of going to wrap it up for today.
Absolutely. And Mark, we may see more of these things come the Game Awards. I'm guessing that's the next big gaming event we'll talk about. Maybe we'll do another special for that, all the things that come out of that, which would be a lot of fun. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and we had a cool announcement. More to come in that. I have some plans where we'll go next with a giveaway, which will be hopefully very cool. So with that, yeah, this has been fun, fantastic, and hopefully we'll have another episode in another week for your ears.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and
Yes,
I want to tell people where they can find us.
Oh, yeah. So stay to the end of the show for all the good details on where you can find us in the world wide web and on Twitters and all of that. But with that, Mark, thank you for joining. Stella and Henry, you were a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And as always, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.